Hello everybody, Jordan here, the PH is silent. I'm really enjoying these deity videos. It's been fun to explore some lesser known deities, well, lesser known to me at least. And this video in particular will cover the mad gods Cyric and Deneir, the god of scribes and cartography. Cyric is a very self-centered and petty deity who holds himself above all others. Power-hungry mortals tend to worship Cyric. Known as the Lord of the Three Crowns, the Mad God, and the Prince of Lies, Cyric enjoys misleading individuals so they will perform acts that ruin their lives or allow them to make fatal mistakes. Cyric is a chaotic evil deity, and despite being a popular deity, his church is widely hated across all of Faerun. Its members perform wicked acts in the name of Cyric. The followers of other evil-aligned deities view Cyric's church as mad with power and a threat to their own influence. There is little love for Cyric and his followers, but if you're on a quest for power, his path might be for you. Cyric also has no friends in the Realms Pantheon, but plenty of enemies. His church was pledged to spread strife and work murder everywhere. People are to worship Cyric out of fear. His church was often beset by infernal feuds and backstabbing. Most of his followers are trained as rogues or assassins. Cyric's church works openly in with a philosophy of ambition, self-reliance, and buyer beware. Those that take Cyric as their patron tend to be con artists or power-mad connivers. Most pray to Cyric when they want to do wrong but don't want to be found out about it. Cyric was once mortal and was elevated to divine status by Eo himself at the conclusion to the time of Troubles in 1358 DR. Bane, Merkel, and Baal had all died during the time of Troubles, and Cyric was appointed their divine portfolios. If you play through the Time of Troubles adventure or read the novels, which I haven't done, don't hate me, Cyric is a major character. He ended up killing Baal using the sword God's Bane, which was the deity mask in disguise. Kelemvor was an adventurer and companion of Cyric and Midnight who later ascended to become Mystra. It was 10 years after the Time of Troubles, Cyric hated Mystra, aka Midnight, and wanted to gain advantage over her. He did this by trying to capture Kelemvor's soul because Kelemvor and Midnight were lovers. He couldn't find it though because the soul was hidden in the sword God's Bane by Mask. It was absorbed by Cyric's own sword the moment Kelemvor was killed atop of Blackstaff Tower. Cyric was in control of the City of Dead, where spirits of the dead roamed about, and Cyric had a dream, a nightmare really, that Kelemvor had returned to life and was seeking revenge against him. At that moment, Cyric crushed his sword in his insanity, which freed Kelemvor, making his nightmare come true. The two fought, Kelemvor the dead soul and Cyric the mad god, and amazingly, Kelemvor won and became the new ruler in the City of Dead. Kelemvor gained the portfolio of death and became the new god of death. Cyric created a book, or influenced a book's creation known as Krinishad. After the Time of Troubles, a god's power was directly linked to the size and devotion of their worshippers. This book would turn anyone reading it into a devout follower of Cyric. It was a powerful magical object, and once you started reading it, you couldn't stop. The book was made of raven black leather and embossed with a pattern of grinning skulls. A skull the size of a child's fist dominates the front cover. Cyric ended up reading his own book, which backfired the magic and drove him insane, even more than he already was, apparently. It was in the year of Blue Fire, 1385 DR, that Mystra was assassinated at the hands of Cyric, which caused the spell plague. This was not hidden, and he was found guilty by a conclave of other Faerun deities for her murder. He was sentenced to imprisonment in the Supreme Throne, which was the realm Cyric held dominion over, I assume since losing the City of Dead. He's currently trapped there for 1,000 years, and the current Forgotten Realms timeline is the 1490s, so he's got a ways to go. Deneir is up next, the lord of all glyphs and images, the first scribe, and also known as the scribe of Ogma. Deneir is the god of literature and the patron of artists and scribes. It is common for someone who writes a letter or records information to say a prayer to Deneir in hopes to avoid making mistakes. Artists acknowledge Deneir before starting and completing a piece of artwork. Followers of Deneir hope to save and record information to preserve history and enlightenment. Thus, records are very important and kept safe. His followers are mainly monks who work to preserve the written word, transcribing all information that comes into and out of the church. His blessings of divine magic are most often bestowed on those who lose themselves in written works. Worshippers of Deneir remain in close contact with those of Ogma, as he was Deneir's brother god. Deneir's churches maintain libraries, always collecting maps, literature, and art. It was during the Spell Plague that Deneir attempted to re-establish stability of the weave by the writing of the metatext. The metatext was a single work that when read could unlock the secrets of the multiverse, catapulting its reader to godhood. Deneir was said to be a follower of Agma and achieved godhood by glimpsing the smallest portion of the metatext. When the weave collapsed, Deneir used the metatext to write himself into the weave to protect it. He disappeared from the world and became part of the weave, granting his chosen arcane abilities instead of divine ones. It's unclear to me if Deneir is back in 5th edition. He's part of the 5th edition Pantheon, but everything I read said he disappeared during the Spell Plague, attempting to write himself into the weave. If that's the case, when did Deneir come back? Or is it one of those D&D mysteries and perhaps Deneir never really left us because his worshippers never really stopped worshipping? I guess we'll never know until Wizards of the Coast graces us with further information. Or if you know that I missed something, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, everyone. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I make new lore videos every Wednesday, and if you really want to help out the channel, consider joining our Patreon. With that, I'm out, but I will see you all again in the next video.